This week on The Insider, a focus on freshmen, political activism at Chestnut Hill College, and a tour of another crib. The Insider begins now. Freshman year can be a difficult adjustment, so the Chestnut Hill Counseling Center is offering a special program designed to ease the transition from high school to college. The Insider's Kendra Lord spoke about the program with Dr. Lisa Johnson.
I think that as with any person starting a new situation, students who are coming from high school to college just encounter all different kinds of experiences, new experiences, experiences such as meeting new people, being in new surroundings, being just confronted with different challenges that they aren't normally faced with. And it causes a great deal of anxiety at times, stress, worry. So we are starting a transitions group to help students deal with any of these issues that they're encountering and that are challenging to them as first-year students here.
I understand firsthand that freshman year is very challenging. Are you offering any techniques to help students transition from high school to college?
One of the things that we'll be talking about in the group is how to negotiate some of these deadlines, how to deal with stress, what happens around midterm time and finals time, and how do you organize your time for that matter. So we'll be talking about time management. What are some good study habits? What are some good relaxation techniques? Anything that we can do to really support the student and help them get through this first year.
There are counseling sessions for freshmen the next 2 Tuesdays, from 1 to 2 at the Counseling Center. Many Chestnut Hill College students have contracted a serious case of political fever. Every week there are special events dealing with the upcoming presidential election. We spoke with some students and faculty about the efforts to encourage students to register and vote.
It's a freedom that we have in this country that is unlike any other, and it is something that defines us. And to neglect to do something that is such an honor is pretty much an insult to where you live and to the great country that we do live in. So no matter who you vote for, you're practicing that right, the right to vote for who you think will best lead the country.
We've gotten involved, the Political Science Club CHC, in helping students to register to vote and also to apply for absentee ballots. So I'm very happy to say we've had a lot of traffic. A lot of students are trying to exercise their constitutional right to vote. So there are a couple of other CHC-sponsored events. For example, we're hosting a Come and watch the first presidential debate, and we'll have voter registration materials and absentee ballot applications there too.
Well, CHC, it's time for you to get involved. I'm Fran Bochelle.
And Mike Kelly, so take care.
Speaking of politics, our own Alex Roth sat down with a professor and a student to put the upcoming election into a historical perspective.
I'm here with Dr. David Contasta and Brian Plunkett, who's a history major, and we're going to open up with Dr. Contasta. And I was wondering if the anti-intellectualism that's kind of been a theme of this campaign, if that has any historical background to it.
One of the ironies of our country is that the higher the degree you have, the less qualified many people think you are to go into politics, and that's not true in Europe and in many other parts of the world. So you have to have the common touch. You have to show that you're a common person, even if you have a great deal of money, even if you went to an elite college or university, you have to try to mitigate that somewhat. So I think in American politics, it's important to have the common touch, or at least pretend that you have the common touch.
I want to go to you, Brian, for a minute. During the news, and especially in the past week, they've been saying how there have been so many smear tactics, and this has been, the dirtiest election in history. Were smear tactics always used in elections?
I think the best example would be the election of 1824 with Jackson and John Quincy Adams. They both attacked each other ridiculously on, well, Jackson, it was about his wife who had been previously married and divorced, but when they married Jackson, it was found out that the divorce didn't go through, so she was technically still married to her previous husband. And that got reconciled, but it was used against Jackson that his wife was an adulteress and that her honor was shaken and he wasn't a good leader because he chose a woman who was still married. He was so angry and fervent and wanting to fight John Quincy Adams that they almost came to blows at times at the election.
I think it's important to insert, though, that in the 1820s, the candidates themselves did not go around the country making speeches. They did not campaign themselves. That was considered to be unseemly. So the barbs were thrown in the newspapers. Newspapers were highly partisan then. They were either for one party or the other. Even small towns would have two newspapers. So much of this scurrilous mudslinging was not done by the candidates themselves, but by their surrogates, by people who supported them. People's backgrounds and their sexual behavior, that's all been grist for the mill for a long, long time. So when people say, oh, this is the dirtiest campaign in American history, isn't this disgraceful, they don't know what they're talking about.
I noticed especially John McCain seems to be trying to run on a platform based on reform and kind of ignoring the fact that he's a member of the party who's been in office for the past 8 years. Is that anything new?
Do you want to take that, Brian?
Yes. Most presidential elections, when there's a recumbent party and they are slagging in the polls by a great degree, like President Bush is right now, the candidate will try and stay as far away from him as possible while staying inside the party, but saying that he's not going to be part of his ideals. No Bush doctrine. It's not going to be like the previous president. I'm going to bring true party ideals to the forefront, and I'm going to be the right candidate.
Oh, the old switcheroo.
Yep.
All right, well, you heard it here, CHC. Everything old is new again. Don't believe the hype. We'll see you next time.
And now, we take the Insider's cameras inside another Chestnut Hill College crib. This one, the home of Kelly Shaw.
Hi, welcome to my crib. This is my room. Here's my closet. These are all my dresses, because I love dresses. I like getting dressed up. Here's some shirts, some cool shirts, and jeans, of course. I love jeans. I have so many of them. Here are my dress-up shoes, my girly shoes, the shoes I like to get dressed up in and go out. And up here I have some purses, because I love to carry purses. Over here, we have more pants, and some shirts, and more shoes, of course. There's some purses up top again. This is my fridge over here. Here in my freezer, I have some ice and a little bit of both my nationalities. I'm Spanish and Italian, so I have some pizza and some